So this panel is very vibes because there was not a plan, but we're trusting. My appeal to the audience to the panelists is to keep it tight. So it's going to be kind of a rapid fire, thank you, a rapid fire sort of panel. So we're going to start from Tina. So we always ask our founders to do this. So we're flipping the script today. In 60 seconds, can you give us, the audience, your elevator pitch, speaking to the target audience in this room, those entrepreneurs, investors, and professionals? What is your superpower in supporting them? And if they go above 60 seconds, like make noise, like get them to stop.
Oh. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Now we can hear.
Yeah, so I consider myself an ecosystem builder. So I work with diverse partners from private sectors, investors, founders to create programs and services that service our founders and innovators. And that's pretty much my superpower, basically talking to a lot of these diverse people, getting them to invest in our programs, to invest in our founders, and to get more money. Yeah.
You can use this one.
Hello. Oh, that's great. So just superpower, right? Oh. Okay, so again, BEA, we're an incubator backed by York University. We support founders in the areas of food and bev, tech, and also skill development. Superpower, well, we don't really, it's going to be blunt. We don't really give a shit. Because again, like black founders, we have to do anything and everything to kind of be heard and be seen. So at BEA, we are very founder focused. So we'll try to do anything as possible to get you to that next level. As well, another superpower is super speed. We started 2 years ago, and we've grown to amass a whole community, and we're out here. And again, we started in Jane and Finch, and now we serve Southern Ontario. So I'm just very thankful to EFOSA, but also specifically our founders. So shout out to the founders.
All right, hello everyone. So Chris Thompson here, Executive Director with the Federation of Black Canadians. So we're a national non-for-profit that we seek to support the social, political, and economic advancement of Black Canadians across Canada. We do this through programs, services, advocacy, and research. Catering to this event and to why I'm here today, under our economic pillar, we have our Black Entrepreneurship Program, which seeks to support early on in new entrepreneurs just understanding the ecosystem, the sector, and providing ability for them to learn about building MVP, what their business could be, and learning from other black founders or black entrepreneurs who's been in it for a long time. Our superpower, what we're trying to do is our entrepreneurship program is mainly digital, and we have entrepreneurs from across Canada. We've already served over 100 entrepreneurs with a goal of 180 by the end of this year. And we also allow, after they're able to develop their ideas and learn from black entrepreneurs, to enter pitch competitions where they can win up toward $10,000. Ours has mainly have been done digital because we have participants across Canada and we allow them to learn from each other. So it's about building an ecosystem, allowing you to learn from each other, learn from founders, and learn from long-seasoned black entrepreneurs as well. Thank you.
Remember to make noise if they go above 60 seconds. You guys are being very nice.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Lawrence. I am one of the co-founders and the COO of Nabellum. For those of you who don't know who we are a nonprofit social enterprise with a mandate of supporting 100 Black-owned businesses in STEM by 2025. And so our superpower is that we have an innovator program. I mean, like many of us on this panel, we all run programs. Our innovators are from not just Canada, but also from the African and Caribbean communities. So, and they're also based in innovation. So our superpower is that we try to tailor our program to make sure that we are addressing their needs. It starts with the leadership. At our leadership, we have our COO, who's a software engineer. Myself, I work in the architecture and design industry at that cross-section of innovation and technology. And so we can relate with our founders in the realm that they're trying to navigate and help them to get through those spaces, which some of them say is very helpful. We also, understanding that we have local and domestic entrepreneurs in our program, we try to make sure that the spaces that we have access to aren't just local. So we recently had a partnership with Mayant that we announced where we're going to be having access to their labs in Mississauga, but also in Jamaica, we have connections with the Jamaican Business Development Corporation to leverage their incubation resource center for our domestic entrepreneurs there, as well as other locations. And another superpower is the funding we provide. So in the past, since our program has started, we have awarded approximately $100,000 worth of funding to our startups, and we're hoping to continue to grow that in the coming year. Thank you.
I think it does. Okay. They said 60 seconds, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it in 60 seconds, but good afternoon, everyone. Sigal Abdi, Director of Social Impact and Sustainability at Black North Initiative. It's truly a pleasure to see such a full room and wonderful to be amongst all of you. For us, we just wanted to be able to talk a little bit about our Black North Begin program, which is Black Entrepreneurship Growth and Innovation Network, dynamic platform designed specifically to support Black entrepreneurs like yourself. Our mission is simple. We want to empower you at every stage of your entrepreneurial journey. We do it through 5 key pillars. Education pillar, which provides you learning resources that are top of mind to support your success. Business services, consistent of pro bono and discounted services through our network of corporate partners. We have thus far 40. Capital solutions through a directory of Black-focused grants, loans, and equity opportunities. Mentorship through one-on-one mentorship activation with volunteer experts, and a directory of existing mentorship program consistent of incubators, accelerators, startups, and many of them are sitting on this panel with me. And a networking opportunities through our event calendars with coverage across the country. We offer a comprehensive suite of support mechanism tailored to your unique needs. It's a free platform, free resources, and we will do a bit of an intake at the time you're being onboarded to understand your unique challenges and barriers and support you with services that you require. So whether you're seeking foundational business knowledge, access to funding opportunity, expert guidance, or a vibrant community to connect with, Black North Connect got you covered. So our superpower lies really uniquely only in our unwavering commitment to fostering your growth and success. Join us today at blacknorthbegin.ca. That's my shout out to the website. And we hope to support you through this journey.
Okay, I'm not going to trust you guys anymore with time. I know that was a lot. Sorry, say that again? Oh, well, yeah. She did good, and it was worth giving you extra time. So we know that was a lot of information. You can scan the QR codes here as we keep going to learn specifically about each thing that has been talked about or will be talked about as we go on in the conversation. So I'll leave the screen up because I think it might be easier for the audience. So you've heard a lot from us. Over the last year, when we started Power of Community, literally a year and a day ago, we've seen a lot more collaboration between ourselves. It might sound like we're doing very similar things. We tend to get that a lot. But then this year, we're really trying to kind of own our superpowers and our strengths and work together in a more kind of efficient way. So the next question is going to reflect to each person on the year that's been since the last Power of Community, because we had a very similar panel. And we talked about some things. So what are the wins, or what is the big win you've had this year since then? But also, what is the biggest challenge that you're facing in implementing your mission or your vision? And how can the community that's listening today, help? So I guess we can start this way this time. Oh, you want to go first? Okay.
No problem, just while the mic is close. So for us, successes since last year, well, we're saying it, but I'll put context to it. So the connectivity and the collaborations that's been had. So we have our Black Entrepreneurship Program, like many of these groups are here, but through the collaboration, it's been extended. So as I said earlier, we've been able to support over 100 Black entrepreneurs across Canada through our program and get them funding and training. But even by working with groups like BFN, we've been able to accelerate that even through a BYAP program, another program where they're giving direct dollars to entrepreneurs to increase their support by being able to bring in actual staff support, up to $4,000. We've been able to work together where they were able to garner some funding, and through our mechanisms and channels, we're able to expedite that to get that to the entrepreneur so that they can hire help to get off the ground. So they have the idea, they have their MVP, they can apply for the BYA program. With support from us, we can facilitate and move funds a little faster to get it right to the entrepreneur. So the fact is that they can get their work moving. So that's been a huge success, and a lot more partnerships around here. So for us, it's been the ability to actually not just say we're working together, but activate the programs and projects to be able to do that.
What's your failure?
Oh,
you're a
failure. Yeah. Well, the challenges, I think most people up here is going to be the demand, the need for continued advocacy for change and continuation of dollars and funds that we've seen to gather. I think the challenge I'm seeing is that as I go across Canada and I'm helping different entrepreneurs, or we're trying to get support to them, we uncover, additional challenges or things that are still systemic and still going on till this day. So I think that it continues to be the need for more people to get involved. Yes, you're all business entrepreneurs and you want to get involved in the activation of your organizations, but the advocacy part needs a lot of your support too, to help us try to garner and get more services, whether it's direct dollars or channels or just differences in policies that allow us to do more. So I say the ongoing challenge is just the ongoing systemic racism in kind of the structures that impede the progress. So I'd say that's it.
For me, in terms of collaboration, again, my second superpower is super speed. When we first started BA, we only had 11 people. And from now, right now, 238 ventures we supported, and about touching 5 million in total revenue generated. So that is, for me, that's been crazy. That scaling up. I would say in terms of the biggest wins we have so far, of course, you guys probably already seen, the Prime Minister actually came to our event for Investment Bootcamp Demo Day to support our founders and talk to them directly, as well as we got funding from TD in terms of scaling up our mini MBA program, which is the Business and Leadership Program, which is, it's actually 2 months, but we actually scaled it to about over a year. So watch out for that. There's going to be executive in residence, going to be teaching project management, product management, and you name it, other courses, as well as scan our QR code and stay connected. The biggest challenge, I would say, or actually collaboration, actually, is that BFN, FBC, and as well Nobellum and BEA are coming together to do something during Collision called the Black Innovation Zone. And so we're going to be coordinating in the back end to create our own booth during Collision. So that is June 17th to 20th, so watch out for that. So that's in terms of that power of collaboration, we quickly got together to mobilize. And I would say the challenge that I've been experiencing is ownership, essentially, because this ecosystem is fairly new. So all of us are really looking at different angles of being sustainable, even outside of government grants, because those have strings attached to it. So for me, it's all about ownership in terms of owning where we want to go, in terms of infrastructure as well. Even thinking about, where I came from Northwest Toronto, so I'm thinking about Little Jamaica, and the biggest thing is access to commercial space. So for me, it's all about ownership, and I have a background in planning, so at BEA, we're actually doing research of how do we create infrastructure, a state-of-the-art infrastructure to support Black founders, but also Black professionals. So that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, at the DMZ we do a lot. So our programming is global. So we work in Canada and also different countries around the world, and also work with startups from different countries who are wanting to enter the Canadian market. So in terms of sort of like success for this year, there are a few things. So I think on the topic of community, we've seen the community growing quite a bit. When we started, that was one of our pillars. So we have capital, coaching, community, and customers. So community has always been a central theme to what we do for the past 13 years. Success, I think, as we work with a lot of the founders, it's been really seeing them grow. Even after they graduate from the programs, engaging with them. I know about between two of the founders that I worked with in the past year, they collectively raised about 4.2 million in the pre-seed round. So kind of seeing successes like that keeps you going, keeps you motivated. And there's one founder who's like operating out of Kenya, and he's doing 7 million ARR, USD, right? So really seeing that these markets are success stories. So the African market, you can be in Canada and develop on the continent and grow and scale your business. So kind of just seeing these stories, I think keeps us moving, and it's been very impactful. Challenge, there are quite a few. I think because I sit a lot on the partnership side these days, so a lot of the challenge is finding good money for the programs, right? So of course there's money, but not all money is good money. So finding programs where maybe the strings that come with it don't impact what the founders can do or can't do. What you as an incubator can do, commit to, what are the metrics that you're able to track, deliver results on those metrics. So it's really finding the right partners, having these conversations with the partners so that we're getting the right resources for the programs that we run, but then also for the organization itself so that we can support our startups.
Yeah, we can start with Sagana.
Okay, perfect. So success, we've launched in October of 2023. And since then, it's been really impressive to be amongst this entrepreneurial ecosystem. And it's been quite rewarding to meet a number of my colleagues on this panel and discuss their programming so we can include them within our platform. Proudest achievements, we have grown exponentially, close to 200 members and over 40 strategic partners that have been onboarded in the last couple of months. We've also, I think the part that was a little bit sobering was really successfully doing a bit of a mapping exercise to understand what's within the ecosystem, who's the who's, who are all the key stakeholders, what type of resource are they offering? Are they offering accelerators, incubators? And then where do we play? How do we win and continue to amplify all the great work that the collective is doing, but to ensure that we find unique solutions that would actually uplift and continue to support our entrepreneurs. We've also consulted with entrepreneurs directly, asked them again, what are some of the challenges, what are some of the barriers that you're facing? We've conducted secondary research just to understand the landscape of research that has been sort of done for Black entrepreneurs and understand the root causes. And some of the results were sobering. Understanding that, individuals foreclose, or I should say Black-owned businesses foreclose twice the rate as their white counterparts. Understanding that 80% of them have difficulties accessing capitals and fund their own business through their savings. And understanding that only 15% of them get approval rates through banks, as opposed to 35% when it comes to their white counterparts. So for us, really looking at those statistics, understanding and hearing directly from entrepreneurs who have told us that they want to be supported through business services that are provided by like-minded people who understand the products that they're selling, people who understand the mission and the drive and the amount of hours that are poured into their business, and who will fundamentally get them to the finish line. So it was really crucial during that process for us to be able to bring forward something that will support everyone at the table. Looking sort of ahead, where we see us playing a deeper role is really how do we deepen the collective impact that we all have? How do we foster even stronger collaboration amongst each other? And I know, Fosa, you touched on that, but that is crucially, we're not all doing the same thing. Absolutely not. It may seem like it, but we're not. There is only the demand is so high. There is a lot to be done. And not one of us is the simple solution. All of us are the solution. We all need to come together in order to be able to bring forward a solution that works. The unique challenges or the toughest challenges we always ask ourselves, and it's really pressing, and it's always a concern, because you'll be provided a funding, and that funding will come with contingents, and they're going to ask you to deliver on those deliverables. But at times, those deliverables don't reflect the reality that we're facing. So for us, it was also important, and it's always crucial, to understand how does our vision still support and the Black entrepreneurs. How do we also translate that into tangible and lasting outcomes? You cannot remove systemic barriers that have been entrenched for centuries with 2 or 3 years. Majority of us have been here for 3 years. That is not going to be feasible. It's going to take time, and we have to be patient with one another, and we need to continue to communicate and collaborate collectively in order to be able to amplify our impact. So that is the challenge. It's a challenge and a call to action for all of us.
So well said. So well said.
That's amazing. Definitely agree with what everyone has said so far. I think success is based, for us at Nobelum, based in community, stemmed from, in the past year we were able to host a number of pitch competitions in collaboration with organizations like the University of Toronto, like City of Toronto at their Small Business Forum, City of Mississauga's Ideation Lab. But for me personally, as a creative, right, at the beginning of last year, we had worked with the University of Toronto, Scarborough campus, to commission a mural. And I know that seems very not related to STEM, because you're thinking art, STEM, not correlated. But for me, that was a huge win for us as a community, because we came together, brought together, principles of entrepreneurship, technology, to basically create a mural that currently sits in the Bridge Finance and Data Lab at the University of Toronto Scarborough campus that, colonize the space, right? It forced us to it brought us together a lot. We had a number of community engagement sessions. The process was studied. We developed a case study that now UTSC is using to study in classes, as well as a roadmap for community collaboration. And it really showed us that at the end of the day, no matter what industry you're in, whether it's music, art, technology, STEM, science, we're all trying to create spaces, to create welcoming spaces for each other, from the events that we throw to, the spaces that we're getting ownership of, that, as Olu mentioned. And so it really set the tone for the year, and that was a huge milestone for us. I think in terms of challenges, one thing that I think we can all relate with, I think collectively we probably have launched maybe or supported over 500 startups or Black-owned startups since our own inception. And so we all have a united vision of ensuring that these businesses are scalable, right? That is the ultimate goal, because we are a stop in the journey of many entrepreneurs. Right now, the statistic is in North America, less than 5%, I think it's 4% of Black-owned businesses, only 4% of them have an employee, right? And so, when it comes to kind of a call to action from the community, from you, it's, not just buying Black when you see these startups coming through that we're working very hard to support, but there's some of you who are not necessarily entrepreneurs here, but you want to buy into a vision, you want to work in an environment that will give you skills at an accelerated rate, right? Connect with these entrepreneurs, connect with these founders, help them to build their teams. Investors, you know what to do. But, help to continue the work after they go through these programs and continue to grow and scale and develop. I think that is, what I'd be imploring all of you to do.
Thank you.
So for us in the last year, I think shooting right off of the last Power of Community event, which collaboration was a huge focus, and it is here as well. But so on the subcommittee of the Black Wealth Club, we really launched into multiple kind of collaborative events and efforts with other groups in the ecosystem. One, I think, particular one that we're proud of was the work we did with Next Canada, where we launched a number of events with them aimed specifically at kind of driving up the Black applications and enrollments in the program. And we saw a record number of Black applicants, and for the 2024 cohort, we were able to also see 4 Black founders selected, which was again a record number for them within that context, and was also equivalent to the number of white founders that were selected. So trying to drive that kind of parity is something that we really were proud of, and we're hoping to continue this year as well. In terms of challenges, I think one of the big things in terms of trying to work with people who are doing amazing things, within the ecosystem and partnering them up with Black founders is, people who are doing amazing things are busy. They have, no time because they're doing amazing things. And so part of it is kind of being able to continue to reach out to more people and bring them into that ecosystem and have them connected with those Black founders. In another life, I was a street dancer, and one of the ethos in the culture is each one teach one. Right? And so for us, I think this year, really trying to foster that similar ethos within the ecosystem as we reach out to more people, saying, okay, each one teach one, and being able to kind of spread that knowledge from, one step to the next is something that we're really looking forward to this year. So, yeah.
Thank you. In terms of success, recently we just launched a new program called the Black Entrepreneurship Program in tech. It's really in collaboration with Volta. Volta is an accelerator based in Atlantic Canada. Then our focus is to really go into space, usually where our people don't go, like deep tech. Because we're really thinking we should not be community known for our resilience, we should be known for our excellence. Because a couple of days ago, I was just reading report from McKinsey. They were just saying in the US, for example, with generative AI, each year that will widen the racial economic gap by 43 billion. So basically, if you look at the different sector where we are overrepresented, clearly, in 5 years or 10 years down of the road, there will be automation into those jobs. So our approach, our tribe, it's really to start thinking, how can we make sure the next 4th industrial revolution, our people, they are doing that. So alongside of that approach, so we just build partnership with Dalhousie University, and then here in Toronto as well, we're having conversation with different university here, because we would like the next Google to be funded by Black founder, and then for us, even our legacy business, if we would like them to survive, we need to be in the right room and then, making the right decision about innovation. Those innovations are not biased, and then we are not just trying to catch up all the time. So in terms of challenge, one of the challenge we really facing, because in the room, people don't see people like us. Because they are always surprised, because we got that question all the time. They ask us, oh, you guys, how did you end up looking at deep tech? I was just wondering, why? Anyone can look at that. It's not just, for a specific race or whatever. There is, that doubts, just starting the discussion. And then the other challenge, clearly, it's, really navigating the complexity of systemic barrier in terms of accessing to capital and then resources to support these Black entrepreneurs. And then all the time, I like to share with the stakeholder, great story. It's a young kid, 19 years old, based in Newfoundland, and then he came in Canada as a student. So basically, he just started, gig projects, like education for EdTech company. So in less than 7 months, just alone, the guy, every month he make 50,000 USD. Just one guy. and then like his application went viral on TikTok, 2 million views, and then so on. So I just showed them, you should not think like some specific people only have that brain to build this type of innovation. This guy, he's 19 years old, and then he come from Nigeria. Not even here, he was able to do that. So, yeah, and then, for the future, I strongly believe it's really all working together to use our strengths, and then making sure in the ecosystem we are complementing each other. We are not just duplicating the same effort, and I strongly believe we can make it. Thank you.
Well said, well said, well said. I didn't know that you danced before. That's still playing in my head. And I'm not surprised that the guy was Nigerian because, So thank you guys so much for those very impactful points. I resonate so much with everything, and I would summarize it by saying we're all parts of the same body, but different parts. I think we need to do better this year in honing down on that more. One thing we talked about doing as well for everybody is like a shared ecosystem calendar, so that how we did this Power of Community events, when each of us is doing something else, we have a storyline of the year that we're weaving together that's tackling the challenges that we just discussed. So we implore you to please engage with us when we provide that solution. I know we're running behind time, so we don't have time for as many questions as I would have liked. But does anybody have a question for the panelists, for any panelist specifically? If you do, you can raise your hand up and the volunteer will find you. Okay, there's somebody there. Can you raise your hand again, please?
Thank you all for sharing your story. So you talked about successes and also challenges. And initially you mentioned something around being in the right place and vibe, right? It's 2024. If you can dream big right now within the next 5 to 10 seconds, in 2034, where do you see our collective community, regardless of what industry, regardless of what continent, but dream big for a moment and share. Anyone can answer this question, but 10 years from now.
Very beautiful question. So I'll start and happy to pass to anybody else that has a thought. I think what we're building here is very similar to what happened in Silicon Valley. If anybody has heard about the PayPal mafia, so it's the same set of people that started PayPal, that got exits, that started LinkedIn, Facebook, most of the tech companies. And that was because when they started together and they made success, they were all invested in the first entity that had an exit. And then, there was a ripple effect. So what Olu said about ownership, I think we need to be more intentional about the sweat that we're putting in, resulting in financial return that's actually owned by the community. If that happens, we're going to see a few exits. We're getting there soon, and we need to make sure that those exits are poured back into the ecosystem. So that's my reflection on it. But Tina?
Yeah, I have a point similar to what Efosa just mentioned, but I wanted to talk a bit more on the capital side of it. So I think we know that, of course, founders, we don't get enough access to capital. Investors always, for one or other reason, it's tricky for us, right? But the flip side is that we don't have enough Black investors investing in Black entrepreneurs, right? So that number needs to go up. And when we think on the investment side, we don't necessarily need to think, I need to be a pre-seed angel, or I need to, be a VC, or whatever the case. You can join a syndicate, right? So maybe if you have $5,000, I can invest in this entrepreneur. If I have $10,000, I can, so it's more accessible that way. So there are other ways that you can really explore getting in, investing in these really solid ideas, helping them get their products to market, and then, capitalizing down the line on that without having the $1 million that you think that the founder will need. So I think it's just really realizing that investing in these businesses it doesn't have to be as hard as it seems. So just kind of get in there, find syndicates that you can join, or form syndicates with your friends. You could also build out one with your friends. And then just kind of see how you can find these companies and invest in, so that way then we increase that number as well.
Very well said, very well said. And the next panel is actually going to touch on that as well. So we are, okay, yeah, they're telling me to wrap up the panel. Sorry. Yeah, so the next panel is going to touch on that as well. A round of applause for our panelists again. Thank you guys so much for joining us.